Yo, what is up? Welcome to Ninja Geek Games. Today we're going to do a solo playthrough of Lifeform. First we're going to go through the setup. We're going to do this in two stages, where first we're going to set up the board area, and then we're going to look at the player area and cards. So the first thing that I do is place a conflict kills token in all of these red rooms which represent vent chambers. And there are quite a few. You then need to populate the board with mission tokens. Now each room has a specific number, and this indicates the number of mission tokens that that room has. However, because these tokens are also quite large, and they do fill a large proportion of the small rooms, I've actually pimped them with these blue cubes, and we'll be using these for the game. Now we need to place additional mission tokens in the following rooms. They are the ladderway, ore refinery and ore hold on B deck, and the fuel converter bay and storage hold 2 on C deck. So the ore hold is here, ore refinery. Now for the ladderway in B deck, there are actually two rooms, and the rules don't indicate which, but Mark Chaplin, the designer, has confirmed that you can choose which of these two you want to place the tokens in, so I'll go here. The C deck, the fuel converter bay is here, and storage hold 2 is there. I've just realised I need to place one in the docking hub as well. The Remora token goes here, and this is the shuttle we're going to be looking to escape on. The man-portable mining laser card goes here, and it's linked to engineering, and I generally put the token associated with it above the card. And the flamethrower card goes linked to the improvised weaponry track. Now just note for the mining laser that there are two versions of the card in the game if you have Dragon's Domain. One is for solo play and one is for multiplayer. So you need to get the one that is indicated for solo play. Now we need to place two power outage tokens on the board, and likewise with the mission tokens, I tend to use these yellow cubes. And you place one in the mess and one in dorsal access on B deck. And we then need to place 3 Terra tokens, one in the cockpit on A deck, one in mining equipment B deck, and the third one in the shuttle bay on C deck. And again, these are generally represented by these tokens, but I'm using red cubes for this game. So we have the cockpit, second goes on mining equipment on B deck, and the third on the shuttle bay area. 2 harpoon tokens are placed on C deck, one in the cryo storage vault, and the other in the drill bit vestry. Now there are 2 tracks for the android, one for its malfunction track and the other for its status. For the malfunction track, we place a token on the start space, the android on the third space. There is an icon of a power outage token, so I just place a yellow cube there as a reminder. And as for the status, we'll just place a token on the start space here. For the cocoon tracks, we completely ignore the 3 and 4 player one and just concentrate on the 2 player track, where we place the token on the start space. The second and third space each have a conflict killed token, and the fourth space has a 5 attack combat token. I place the stowaway tokens in this area beside the Remora, and in solo play you use the overheating token, and it goes on the coolant track in the shuttle loadout area on the 2 player spot. Now we need to place these 4 attack 1 combat tokens randomly on these 4 positions of the energy cells track. However, we can't do it randomly because they are double-sided, so we're going to know which ones are placed there regardless. So what I do here is I stack all 4 tokens, place them at the top of the track, and then I place these 4 cubes here, and as my mission tokens creep up this track, if they ever reach this area, I'll move this up, draw 1 token away, and at the end of the game we can then randomly assign these tokens to the primary combat area. The self-destruct timer starts on the start space of the track. Now if you're using the 13th passenger expansion, they come with these 4 asteroid tokens here. 3 of them are impending, and one of them is an asteroid hit, and you're supposed to turn them upside down, randomise them, and place them on these 4 spaces here. However, for this, you know that there is going to be an asteroid hit and can sometimes plan accordingly. So what I do is I turn them all upside down, randomise them, and I only select 3 of them. So I don't actually know if there is going to be an asteroid hit. Then we need to find 5 of these still alive conflict tokens and 1 killed conflict token and place them into a bag, as these will be randomly drawn during the game. So in solo play, I use this area here for the crew cards. So take your deck of crew cards, give them a shuffle and place them here. And that's the board setup for solo play, so let's look at the player area. So for solo play, you'll need these 3 boards. This is the shuttle conflict board, which has areas for primary and secondary combat, as well as areas for searching a locker and activating the airlock. This is the player board. We're playing as Emma, which is the mission attendant, and we need to place this so the 2 player side is face up. Then we have a solo control screen, which sits over the top. This is the motion tracker board, and the alien life form will sit on one of these 3 areas depending on the variant that you're playing. Here is the normal variant. This is the harder version, but we're going to put it on the shaken for this game. Your actions during the game will determine how many spaces the life form moves down this track, and if it ever gets to here, this is a proximity alert, and you'll need to make some difficult decisions or it'll end up eating you. On our character board, this is the token that represents who we're playing during the game, and they actually start in the galley on the Valley Forge. The nerve token will start here. There are 3 trait tokens, and these need to be placed trait side up, randomised, and placed in these areas here, which represent professionalism, determinism, and extreme bravery. Our character also starts with a heat analyzer, and this area here represents the shuttlecraft of the Remora. It's only used during the 13th passenger expansion. This area represents where the life form can be hiding if they're able to stow away on board. And this here is the docking clamps, where we place a token here, and if we ever have our token meet this area, we can actually complete one of our objectives. And this is the life support area, and this token will move up and we'll get bonuses for that if we search compartments in the Remora during the game that have already been searched. We've already placed the crew deck onto the Remora, and we start the game with 4 of those cards. We need to set aside these 13th passenger Remora cards that are used when searching the life form in the endgame. These 3 asteroid cards will need to be set aside, and we only draw one if there's actually an asteroid hit shown on one of the tokens we placed on the self-destruct track. And lastly, we need to shuffle the crisis cards, and there are 3 decks here, one represented for each deck on the Valley Forge. And if playing with the 13th passenger expansion, just make sure that you shuffle the crisis cards into C deck for that expansion. So that's the setup for the game. As you can see, it's a bit of a table eater, so you do need a lot of space. Now let's get onto the ship and get playing. So again, briefly, what I need to do is run around the ship collecting these mission tokens to meet the minimum requirements on the shuttle loadout, while also trying to rescue the cat, download incriminating corporate Xena data, and uncouple the shuttle umbilicus. Now these 3 objectives here can be carried out by resolving effects on the crisis cards, which are just off screen at the minute, or by completing certain actions on the Valley Forge. So each of the rounds has 2 phases. And the first phase is the crew activity phase, where I can collect mission tokens, draw cards, perform an activity, resolve any movement repercussions, which could be drawing crisis cards, and advancing the self-destruct timer. There are no mission tokens in the galley, so the next step is to draw a crew card. So I now have 5. These are just off screen as well. So I think I'll play this card first, and I'll use the move action. I'm going to move into the living quarters here. This card will then be discarded. Now as I'm on a deck, I then draw a crisis card from the same deck. And this says, you are startled by an EVA suit slouched in the doorway, and on closer inspection you discover that someone is dead inside. Well, that's not a good start. The antifreeze system's being punctured from behind, flooding the suit. And then it gives me a number of options that I have to do. Generally, the top option is not so bad, and the bottom action, where you hesitate, gives you something really nasty to deal with. So option A says search the survival rucksack laying beside the EVA suit. and I have to play a card with the explore action. Luckily I have one here, and that actually gives me I think it's a welding torch, and that can be placed here. So this has to be discarded, and so does this, and then I move the self-destruct token. Second phase is the android phase, but they're still non-functional, so we can ignore that for the time being. First thing I'll do is collect this mission token, and I'm going to place it on the improvised weaponry. Now here, I only have to have 2 to complete the objective. However, I can keep going, and these numbers here represent the number of cards that I can draw at the end of the game if I do face the life form. And if I land here, I get to take the flamethrower card. So I get to draw a crew card, and for my action I think I'm going to run. So 1, 2, I am going to go into the vent chamber. So the first thing I need to do here is take this conflict killed token, place it into our bag with the others. So now I think there are 2 in there compared to 5 still alive. And at some point during the game I'll be drawing from them, hoping to get the still alive tokens. I advance the alien 1 space on my motion tracker board, but I don't have to complete a crisis card. And then the self-destruct timer will drop down 1 space. So Android is still sleeping. I'll collect my token, and I'll put that again on the improvised weaponry. Draw a crew card, and I am, oh that should have been discarded, I am going to place another run action. So I'm going to move here into the observation blister, I think that is. Crisis deck. Need to draw from the B deck. It says here, sneaking through this section of the starship, you've arrived at the Mine Corp supervisor's office. The cubicle is a flurry of visual excitement as lights and colours migrate across readout panels and screens. So what options here? The first one says, override security protocols to the supervisors in office. I don't have a door icon on any of my cards, so I can't do that one. Option B says, force open the mining equipment locker. I need to discard a card, so I think I'll discard this one. I have to place a stowaway token on the remora. But I do get a harpoon token. And this can be used in the final showdown to match a fight icon, or can be used to get rid of a terror token that's in an adjacent chamber. So that one's done. That advances. Next turn, I'll collect mission token. I think I'll place that on the coolant. Draw a card. I've just drawn a flamethrower card. I have 2 of those now. So I think I'll play this card here. So I'm going to play this action first. Now, because this icon matches this icon in the room, I can actually download incriminating corporate Xena data. And to do that, I select one of these to be the token. And I'm not really sure which one to pick, because it'll take it out of the game, so I can't ever collect that to use at the showdown stage. I know one of these 5 tokens are up on the cocoon track. And these trait tokens, I think, also have 5 attack. So I think I'll take the red one, place that there. So that's one of my missions done. But I can also move as well. So I can move once. I'm going to move back up here. Draw another card from the B deck. As you dash through the doomed mining vessel, sirens continue their lament. The unconcerned voice of the computer announces, attention, attention, the cooling units for the hyperdrive engines are not functioning. Engines will overload in X minutes. Well, that's not what you need. So I have a number of options. I can glance down at my scanner, move the life form forward 1 space, but I get to rescue the cat, which is good. Option B says proceed mindful of overhead shafts. I can discard any 2 cards, but I have to place a stowaway token onto the remora. I don't want to do option C because the Lifeform will move and then it becomes invulnerable to flamethrowers. So I think I'm going to move this 1 space closer towards me. Now I've rescued the cat. So actually, done 2 of my objectives. I only need to uncouple Shuttle Umbilicus. I still have a long way to go with the mission tokens. The track advances. Okay, no mission tokens for me to collect. I draw a card. I think I need a few more cards, so I think I'm just going to equip, where I can draw 2 cards. Now I've 3 flamethrower cards. The Lifeform will move down my motion tracker board. I can go down this way, which actually is quicker for the alien to meet me. Or you've got these little diverts, but generally the diverts give you something pretty nasty. So if I go here, I have to advance once on the self-destruct, and because I've landed on this space here, I have to place a terror token on the ship, and it follows the reverse of the android path. And now the self-destruct will go again. So my next turn, draw a card. I don't have any run cards, so I'll move to here, draw a crisis card. Now it says the lifts here are non-operational. In the pitch dark you hear something big moving. You activate a light bar and toss it down the shaft and the light picks out a climbing monster. The first option says lower the nozzle of your flamethrower and burn the Star Beast Molten Blast. I have 3 flamethrowers. The second option means I have to use my motion tracker and place a stowaway card on the remora. And the third option is I lose nerve and move the Lifeform 2 spaces. Now with the nerve, if it ever reaches this space and has to be moved again, I lose the game. Also, if you enter a chamber with a terror token and you can't get rid of it, the terror token gets placed here, which shortens the distance of your nerve track. So I think I'm going to get rid of a flamer, and then nothing else happens. No mission tokens to collect again, and no run card again. So I'm going to carry on moving forward to here with the move action. In deck B still. And it says you whirl, eyes darting around the tunnel. Your gaze settles on a remote terminal splattered with blood. And the options here, I can type instructions into the keyboard interface, and I have to play a circuit board icon. And I don't have one of those, but if I did, I'd gain one of these tokens to use in the showdown stage. But I have to place a stowaway token on the remora. Option B is I can purge. But it uses a coolant token, and I still have to use a stowaway token on the remora. Now, as I don't have this icon, I can use a trait token. I'll have to remove it, put this onto the remora, and discard one of my cards. However, I think these have attack 5 on them, and they go into the secondary combat zones at the end of the game. The likelihood is I'll probably use them anyway. But I think I'll save that for now. And if I was going to use one, it'd have to be this one here for B deck. Or this one, sorry, for any deck. So I have a choice. So I think I am going to purge the touchscreen. I'm going to use a coolant token. Luckily I put one there. And the only thing that happens is I get to place another one of these tokens onto the remora. Now out of those 6 tokens, 4 of them are safe and 2 are danger. And at the end of the game, any on the remora I need to flick over, and if at least one of them shows danger, I've got no choice but to attempt to fight the Lifeform. So this card can be discarded. Timer moves down 1. I can take this token, place it back onto the coolant. I can draw a card. I'm going to play this one here. I'm going to use the explore action which allows me to claim another token. And I'll place that also here. Now, because I haven't moved, I skip the crisis cards, bypass the android phase because they're still sleeping, and advance the destruction track. So next turn, draw a card. Still no run cards. So I'm going to play a move and go to the ladderway. Still on B deck. The red light on your tracker suddenly turns bright crimson, the beeper chirping simultaneously. The alien life form is unfolding its bulk from a nearby air shaft. The first option says I can flamethrower and carry on. Second option, fire a jury-rigged weapon into the dark. I have to use one of my improvised weaponry tokens, but the life form will advance, and I have to place a stowaway token onto the remora. If I do nothing, I have to move back, so basically I'm retreating, and I have to place a terror token onto the board. So I think I'm going to waste yet another flamethrower, so nothing bad is going to happen, and I can proceed. But there's a terror token placed because of the icon on the self-destruct, and that gets placed in maintenance. Right, so the first thing I do, take one of these and place it on the spacesuit, because I only need one, so I'll keep it there. Again, if I get any more, I can actually end up drawing cards. Draw a card anyway. Play a card. I think I'm going to stay in the ladderway, play the explore, and take another token. Place that on the energy cells. Now these halon gas column here, because you don't need those to leave the Valley Forge, but they do come in really handy during the showdown stage, as they can completely eliminate one area of tokens in the combat zone. So I think if I am lucky enough to get the minimum from the rest, I think I'll be looking at the halon gas, because they're well worth getting. So again, I don't draw a crisis card because I haven't moved the tracker, or moved down one, and there are two events that happen here now. First one is a stowaway token that goes onto the remora. And with the vent icon, I've got two options. I can either place a small vent token in supplies B deck, which is here, and I was actually hoping to move there next. Or I can move a token from here to place the vent in an adjacent chamber to this. I think I'm going to place it into supplies on B deck, which is a bit of a pain. I don't think I can afford to keep using these tokens. I need 7 more. Okay. No mission tokens to collect. Draw a card. Move action. Where to go? I will go into the vent. Now you notice all the other vent chambers, they have these conflict kills tokens in them. I don't think it happens to this one because it wasn't there at the start of the game, but I do have to advance the Lifeform 1 space for being in the vent chamber. However, I don't draw a crisis card because I'm in that chamber, and this now moves. Now, this is the expansion for the 13th passenger, so I need to flick this over and see if there is an asteroid hitting the ship, and there is on the first one. This isn't going well, so I now draw one of these 3 cards. I have drawn asteroid impact on A deck. And for solo play, this says place the hull breach token onto the food locker on A deck, and the food locker is here. And I think any crew members within 3 rooms, 1, 2, 3, so I'm safe, get moved back 1 space. In the multiplayer game, it does say to add power outage tokens onto B deck and C deck, but I don't think that in solo play, as I'll get to choose, and if I did, I'd probably put them miles away up there anyway. So it just means that this now is out of action. And the other 2 cards would place the hull breach onto B or C deck. So now we know that these just impending, we can remove them.